And a flag salute.
Please stand. Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
All right, fellow board members, please let me know if you have any modifications to the agenda before we get started. Any? All right, seeing none, let's keep going. Next up, we'll move on to item number 6, and we'll begin with the superintendent report.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, good evening, everybody. It's so great to see everybody and see such a packed house for so much celebration tonight. So we have a lot of exciting things to share. Certainly the highlights will be hearing from our Edna Hill computer science students and also celebrating some of our exceptional volunteers. And we have some wonderful new employees that are joining us as well that we'll honor. So I want to just tell you a little bit about how the agenda is going to go, because I know lots of you are here and it is a school night, and some of you are also be interested in a basketball game that's happening later. So I'm going to go through the superintendent's report, then we're going to go to Edna Hill Middle School, and then we're going to recognize a great community organization. We're going to recognize our exceptional volunteers. We're going to speak about our new teachers that have accomplished induction. We're going to go to public comment, and we're going to introduce some of our new staff that's being hired, and then we'll do a couple of items, and then we're going to break for cookies. Now, this is an important time in the meeting. When we break for cookies, we're going to break for only about 5 or 10 minutes. You're absolutely welcome to stay after that, but also if you have a lot going on and you need to get home and you're not required to be here, you may take off at that point. So just want to say that. So those of you know who I'm talking to. So one of the things that I'd like to start each meeting with is to highlight some of the great things that have gone on in the district since we last met. And there really are lots of things to celebrate. So I hope you'll excuse the number of slides that I have tonight just because it's May. And so first of all, I want to acknowledge all of our students that have been celebrated over at the art show that took place at the community center. If you haven't gotten a chance to see all the artwork up there, it's amazing. And these are some of the great jobs that were done up there by the students in our area. It's also a great time to bring families together on sites. And so here's Loma Vista and their parents club working together on a family bingo night. So great job, Leopards out there. Time to celebrate. Here's the annual Mary Casey Black teddy bear picnic with first graders and families. So it's nice to have beautiful weather out there for that. This was a fun lesson. So CC Vo out at Edna Hill, science teacher, they created metamorphic rocks out there. And I know that the actual video on the projector doesn't do them justice. So if you get a chance to look online, they're really beautiful how they came out. I want to take one last chance to honor Miss McGinn, who was our both the Garin Teacher of the Year and also the Brentwood Union School District Teacher of the Year. Our County Superintendent Lynn Mackey came out and visited her classroom on April 17th to celebrate her. So let's just clap for Mrs. McGinn, all of her great work. There'll be a special reception in her honor that happens, I think it's in September. And so we'll be able to celebrate some more with her. If you've been out to Ron and Nunn, they do a walk and talk every morning. And typically Mr. D'Amico and Mr. Casey are very tight on controlling that. But they had a new DJ out there. So Julian was their first student DJ and brought some Imagine Dragons out there. And so good job, Julian. Also, this is the time of year where our middle school bands are recruiting new players and new instrumentalists, and so going around and doing tours at for our 4th and 5th graders so they can see what it looks like to play in a bigger middle school band. So thank you. These are some pictures from Adams and Edna Hill coming out and visiting some of our sites. This is some of our 5th grade teachers organizing a 50-state fair. So these are students that were assigned or got to choose a state and had to learn about it and make a display for it and interpret it. So lots of great projects there. Also, this time of year, this is a soccer match that took place between Edna Hill and Delta Vista. And I want to just take the opportunity to thank all of our coaches who really volunteer a lot of their time to make sure that these students get a great opportunity to learn through participating in sports. So very appreciative of their work. I want to congratulate our Seroptimus Award winners. So each each year, our wonderful Seroptimists of the Delta Association chooses a middle schooler from each of our middle schools and honors them. And so Bryn Faulkner, Molly Redmond, and Amaya Balumbu were all celebrated by the Seroptimists. And I just want to congratulate them on their award. There was a special dinner in their honor. I love this. This is Cray third graders put together a trashin' show where they took recycled items and made fashion out of them. There was a little red carpet there and walkway. So great job, Cray students. And then I wanted to celebrate Zoya and Hanaya, who met with classes to explain the importance of Ramadan out at Mary Casey Black and celebrated and shared how their family celebrations go there. So great job to those two. And then this was Mrs. Conrad's fourth grade class working through our community celebrations lesson and learning about minarets. So great job to them. We go some more. Staff versus student kickball game out at Adams. So some great pictures out there. It's nice to see the sun out and so many smiling faces out there for that. I had the opportunity, I guess it's a couple of Friday nights ago, to go to see Cast C of Matilda. And if you're wondering why it's Cast C, that's because there's 3 full cast of actors that are there. They had 3 wonderful plays. And so I just really want to acknowledge Mr. Schneider, Miss Grace Seamers, and Mrs. Allen, who work and just create such a great opportunity. It was a fantastic play. So anyway, if you like the book Matilda, they did a great job with it. Gold Rush Day, annual celebration that takes place out at Cray, learning and a capstone for the 4th grade history work that they do there. So lots of fun. And apparently there was gold found out there. I also want to thank at Mary Casey Black, the Majid family, who came out and showed off their new clothes for Eid and shared with Mrs. Timney's class. So beautiful outfits there. And thank you for sharing. We also have been doing some testing, so some standardized testing. So this is the Ron Nunn 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade staff getting ready to encourage students to level up and smash the test. So thank you to everybody who worked so hard to get through that. So we went forward. Olivia, who is a Cray student, actually got selected nationwide for being in a mystery science lesson. So she submitted a question, and her question went out to schools all over the United States, and they answered online. So congratulations to Olivia on that. This is also the time where we're, as I once was a scared 5th grade parent who was transitioning my students to 6th grade and saw how challenging that was. Our middle schools are doing a great job of welcoming parents and sharing some expectations, getting them excited about what's coming in, and having open house programs that really welcomes them and talks about all the opportunities they're going to have. So this is at Bristow here. And then this is at Adams here, so you can see some of the great work that's taking place in making families and new families feel welcome, as well as celebrating open house. Harvest Road held their staff versus students kickball game on the 26th, and I think this might be the first time that the students won. So congratulations to the students. They finally figured them out. So congratulations on that. I love this picture. This is Mrs. Pierce's mom, who's a 3rd grade teacher. And if you didn't know that, you would think she worked at the school because she's there all the time and helping out. So she was outside. Mrs. Morales was outside helping out. They were painting their endangered animal pillows. So we're so fortunate to have so many volunteers, including some teachers' parents who come out and help as well. Bandapalooza is always a big hit across the district. So it's the opportunity for the 6th grade band at the middle school to play with its feeder elementary school students and play together in a big concert. So congratulations to all of those students for coming together on that. And then I also want to acknowledge Mrs. Nuha. Mrs. Nuha is an aide at Brentwood Elementary School who knows how to write in Arabic. And so for Arabic American Heritage Month, she came out and taught students about what she knew about that. So thank you to her for sharing that great skill. If you haven't been out to see the Cray Garden that Mrs. Berry's students tend, Mrs. Berry, I saw you walk in here. Now, where are you? Oh, hello, Mrs. Berry. Is there still, do you still have arugula and carrots out at the garden?
Next week we will sell in.
Okay.
Sunflower, arugula, cilantro, beets.
Okay. Now, the original person who sent this out said that there was a lot of worms, and I just said a few worms.
They were big hits this year.
Okay, the worms. Okay, all right. So those are out there too. So thank you, Mrs. Berry. That's a big hit out there as we go forward. Also, another tradition, the Ron Nunn first grade square dancing show. So congratulations to all of those kids who are learning how to do-si-do. This is a new opportunity out there. We have a Bristow improv team that's taking place at the Emil J. Geddes Theater out there. So congratulations to all those, and thanks to Ms. Leviachik for putting that together. I'm really getting close here. There's a lot of stuff going on in May. I know, don't give up. So I want to thank the Ron Nunn Parents Club. This is the kickoff to Staff Appreciation Week and Teacher Appreciation Week, and putting together these wonderful doors for everybody at Ron Nunn. Such a really nice thing. It's also butterfly season out in second grade across the district. So you can see these students are excited to have their butterflies emerge. Today I saw lots of chrysalises out there, so they'll be coming a little bit later, but lots of smiling faces. Also, Edna Hill, I want to congratulate, just a big birthday. You don't look this old, but congratulations on your 70th. I know that's a big celebration. I know we're going to have to do something big for the 75th as we get going there, Miss Medina. So we'll look forward to that. And then I want to just thank everybody who continues to participate in the Turkey Trot. So the Turkey Trot has brought so much to our school district in terms of sports and PE. And so this is a Gaga pit that was purchased with those funds out at Marsh Creek, and it's one of the kids' favorite things out there. So great job, everybody. And then this is also unified sports season for basketball. And so great game out there for Bristow. And so thank you to everybody. Look at that crowd out there supporting all those students in unified sports. So great to see that. And then some of you at this table participated in a groundbreaking ceremony. So we'll talk about our newest school without a name here in a little bit, but certainly going to be such a wonderful opportunity to see that school come up this year. It's out there if you're on Lone Tree Avenue, it's bordered by Smith Road, Big Basin Drive. It's behind the Muslim Community Center, and if you drive by there every once in a while, you'll be able to see it coming up. And we're planning on opening that in next year. Well, not next year, July of 24. Sorry, I'm a little ahead of myself. It's not coming up that fast. And then also on the 4th, we were able to celebrate some of our retiring, our award-winning, and long-serving employees at our annual dinner. And I want to say a special thanks to Nisha Shed for coordinating that event. And it's a lot to organize and put together. And there you are again, Mrs. Berry. You're like the star of this show up there. So I'm glad you sat in the front. We also had Food Service Heroes Day that was celebrated. And so here is some students at Adams Middle School that were celebrating their food service workers for all that they do to feed them. And I also want to thank our volunteers out at the Nail House who have taken in our third graders and their pursuit of local history knowledge throughout the year. And so this is a great trip that Mary Casey Black had. And then I also want to just acknowledge that this week, if you've gone out to our sites, you've seen Parents Club that have done amazing things to really celebrate our staff and just appreciate how much how much time and effort they put into that. And I am truly done at that point. So thank you, everybody. There's a lot to share. I want to now switch over to Mrs. Lenore Medina, who's our wonderful principal at Edna Hill Middle School, who just celebrated their 70th birthday.
Just the gray button.
Chris is an expert.
This reminds me of the dinner.
Oh, there it is.
Yes. We figured this out eventually. Okay, so they're both on. Good evening, board, and thank you so much for the opportunity to allow us to showcase one of the many great things that are happening at Edna Hill Middle School. This evening, we have Mrs. Jenkins, our expert computer science teacher, along with 4 of our students. We have Arshad, Jonathan, Mame, Abena, and Arajwa. And so thank you for being here. And they're going to discuss what makes our computer science class at Edna Hill exceptional. This ties in nicely to This ties in nicely with our LCAP goal number 3, which is technology, which states that all students will utilize technology in order to meet the demands of state standards and to prepare for college and career readiness. The strategy that Mrs. Jenkins is using in her classes, or strategies, computer science standards are taught with a focus on the 4 C's of the 21st century of communication, critical thinking, collaboration, and creativity. And one of the side notes that I'd like to share really quickly is when we were looking to hire for our computer science program, what Mrs. Jenkins said was that it was her dream job. And so to have a teacher at our school that finds this to be her dream job, we just feel so very lucky. So thank you for being here to present.
I'm so happy to be here. So the program that we're able to offer is I have a year-long 7th and 8th grade computer class, and then I have 7th and 8th grade semester courses. And since I took over, I've been running the Girls Who Code Club. Did that at elementary when I was at Cray also. So keep that going strong. Student voice, how do we get the video? Can you do that?
Computer science is being able to explore the wonders of computers, from motherboards to coding to HTML. You basically explore everything that's about computers.
Computer science is how you express yourself using computers. You can build and code it. You can just be typing to make HTML website. You can just do everything with computer science.
So I just asked those boys to tell me about computer science. Yes?
People want to come over here since there's a whole bunch of.
Scott, there's additional chairs over here.
There's chairs over here, folks, if anybody wants to come in.
Thank you, Scott, for that. Appreciate it. Good looking out.
Okay. Can you click the next?
Computer science
Oh,
is
it always does that. We all know that. Okay. Thank you. Oh, okay. Are you going to read that?
Yeah, I was going to.
Make sure that.
So some of the things that the staff is saying, one is students often discuss enthusiasm for coding in Mrs. Jenkins' computer science classes. They are really enjoying it. That's Mrs. Vo, our 7th grade science teacher. Another staff member stated, it's always impressive to see the equipment Mrs. Jenkins is advocating for on Donors Choose. She always has something that's on Donors Choose, and she always gets funded. It's great. So it's always impressive to see the equipment Mrs. Jenkins is advocating for on Donors Choose in order to provide the most innovative technology for our students. That was Mrs. Lyman, our secretary. She's in the front office. And then the last staff member, and there were more, but we only added 3. Even though it is a computer class, Mrs. Jenkins utilizes many different types of media. Students even sew circuits with conductive thread. It's so cool. And that was Mrs. Truesdale, our health and STEAM teacher.
Thank you. I think you can just set that down. And that's my latest project we did. So we didn't actually bring that one because they just finished that one last week. Some of the parents have told me that thank you for being an engaging teacher. This was the best compliment. My son wants to continue exploring computer science in high school. That was so cool. And then thank you for making school fun, which is my ultimate goal. And this year, we have about 250 students participating in the program. It's an elective. They choose to attend. We have about 35% who are girls, 65% are boys. For me personally, diversity in CS education is key. I'm taking the diversity and computer science class that was offered by the Kapoor Center and UC Berkeley this year. So I've learned a lot about that and recruiting and encouraging all students to take this. And I think we're ready for.
So as you can see, my favorite thing to do in computer science is HTML because you can literally do anything, like type any text and make it any color, make it any size, and you can put any image or any link, and you can put it however you want it. So as you can see at the very top, there's like a little space right there. I put all the information you need to know for the text color and size. And then I put the heading color and size. And then as you can see, the first heading where it says H1, that's heading 1. It says cookies and cream because my webpage is about ice cream. And then as right next to it, it says coldstone.jpg. It's an image. So when you download it and then you put the link over there, it should appear on the web page. And then the rest, I put the height and the width and then the border. And then below it, it says there's a P, and then there's a paragraph right there. And then the next heading, it says cake batter with vanilla. So that's the second heading, and then the second image, and then the second paragraph. And then the last heading is chocolate, and then the last paragraph. And then at the very bottom, it says, click here to find more about ice cream flavors. And then I put the link there. And then as you can see in the webpage, all the requirements are on the webpage. Thank you.
Tell us about the project. So tell us what we learned.
So these, you might be wondering, what is this familiar green ogre and this cactus supposed to meant to be? These are called micropets. A pet that won't leave you alone like your real pets. The program we use to code these pets is called microbits, hence the name micropets. So,
You know what? Let me show real quick. That's the website that we use.
the type of programming we use for the micropets is called blocks. It's like, for example, like Scratch or Makey, for example. You take care of the pet by pressing A or B. A will make it happy. B will feed it. Or you could just be plain cruel and let it pass away.
Yes, and I always joke. So I'm like, okay, next.
All right.
There you go.
This is a BattleBot. This project allows students to build and control LEGO vehicles through code. We used a microbit to control our BattleBot and another to send the instructions to the other. This activity helps students learn how to code and use their creativity to fuel their BattleBot. We held a tournament to test our skills and critical thinking to destroy other BattleBots. Let me demonstrate.
Wow. That's super cool.
So they program one microbit and the Bluetooth goes to the other microbit. And so they actually make the controller and they program all the stuff to hook up to the motors and everything.
Nice.
So, and we did a huge BattleBot robot thing. It was super fun.
Nice.
Okay.
My name is Mami Benajumfo, and the project I'll be presenting today is an interactive robot pet I made with the Hummingbird Kit. I am in Mrs. Jenkins' 6th period class and in Girls Who Code. We got to use Mrs. Jenkins' new Hummingbird Kit, and as you can see, the sheep can light up its nose, move its ears, and turn its head. The ears turn with motors attached to each side, and the nose is lit up by LED lights. And everything is connected to the hummingbird, or what I like to call it, the brain. And over there for the code, it's everything coded: the ears, the nose lighting up, and the head moving. That's it.
Yeah.
Got to say something else?
I was just gonna. You want me to give them the?
And let them face the crowd and do the battle.
Okay. Thank you for being here tonight.
While you're handing out the certificates, I just want to say how impressive that was. And Mrs. Jenkins, great job. Kids, great job. Before you leave, when you're done with college, Come back and see us. We will for sure have jobs for all 4 of you.
Yes.
Okay? So please come back. Great job. Mrs. Job and Jackie Oria.
All right, so board and everyone, we are so excited to be here this evening. Jackie Ori and I are here to welcome our Byron Delta Lions Club. We'd like to thank you for everything that you've done for us. Yeah, well, sorry, I forgot my piece of paper. Oh, but,
Hello.
They've been working with us for vision screening for a few years now, and I think it was Linda that gave us this information. So some numbers for you guys. In the last 2 years, they've screened 9,904 of our students, and 1,661 of those students were referred for eye exams with their optometrists. They've been working closely with us for a number of years, and all of this has been done by 34 members of their team. And something that isn't included on here, and one of the things that we really appreciate is having a source to get free eye exams and glasses for our students. So those families that can't afford them, or the kids that break them and the insurance won't pay for another pair, we have someone that we can call and ask for help with those students. And we greatly appreciate you. I'm looking forward to working with you many more years. Leslie, come on in. We have a certificate for you guys. Leslie. Oh. Yes. And then Elizabeth. Elizabeth. Thank you. Who's the next one? Mary. And then Linda.
that's it. Okay.
She's.
Yeah.
No,
you're in the Jackie, get in there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, of course. The most important piece of information that I didn't tell you is it's all done for free.
All right.
Yeah.
That's what Lions do.
Yes, we love you guys.
Hold up your certificates. Hold it up. Just like the perfect. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Perfect. I'll give you
Thank you so much, Lions Club. We're so happy to have your support and appreciate all that you've done. Just to update you on where we are in the agenda as we're going through. So we're going to do the exceptional volunteers, and then we're going to do just a little bit of update on induction, public comment, some announcements of new staff, and then we're that close to cookies. Okay, so as we're going forward. All right. Okay. Okay, so as the principals are coming up here right now, I want to share with you that all of these principals would like to share for hours and hours about each of the people that we're going to honor today. Unfortunately, I've limited them each to a minute, and we're going to celebrate so many amazing people, and there's way too much to say, but in the minute time, we're going to try to capture all of the things that they've done. And so one of the things that we did before the pandemic, and we're just getting back to it now, is celebrating our exceptional volunteers. There is no way that we could have such a successful school district without these amazing people that spend so much time. And some of the people, as I was looking through the video, I was surprised that they were volunteers because I've actually seen them so much on school campus, I thought they worked here. So anyway, so I'm gonna invite our board president, Stephanie Williams-Rogers, to come up. And what we're going to do is we're going to go, we think it's in alphabetical order. Okay, thank you, Mrs. Clevin. And so we're going to have the principals come up. So Mrs. Griggs, we picked you. It's not just alphabetical order, but we knew you would set an excellent example for everybody. We're going to have you come up. You'll get your certificate and your also in alphabetical order here. And also we have a very special coin that says making a difference for the Brentwood Union School District. So these are very special. We only give these out here. And so I'll give you the microphone.
Thank you guys for coming tonight and for all the families that are coming to honor our exceptional volunteers. We at Adams Middle School would like to honor Andy Isaac for being an exceptional volunteer at our middle school. Not only has she founded our orchestra club at Adams Middle School, but she recognized a need for students at our school that wasn't being met. And she was coming from an equity-based mindset. She met with me, she met with district personnel, she helped students get equipped with instruments, and she wanted students to have an experience to play orchestra music together instead of in isolation, where a lot of students take private lessons. It has been an absolute labor of love, and it has been every single Wednesday where she has almost 40 middle school students coming on their own free time to work together to play really, really beautiful music. And if you don't have middle school students yet, you know, getting them to do anything extra is not easy. And we don't have a lot of people banging down our door saying, I want to work with middle school kids. We appreciate you so much. Our orchestra is now going to be invited to our spring concert to perform for our school, and we couldn't be more proud or more grateful for the work that you've done, Miss Isaac. And our students are so happy that you're here.
Picture with you guys. So much. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Patty Schneider from Brentwood Elementary, and I'm pleased to be here to honor Angela Spinelli, more lovingly known as Nana. She is the grandmother of Brentwood L, and something I can say about her is that all the children feel like she's their grandmother, and they love her, and she welcomes them with a big smile every morning, bringing her own grandchildren to school every day. So she has the ability to see where the need for help is, and she never hesitates to jump right in. She's always helping with Parents Club and all the events, helping her daughter, I know, doing all the things that she's also involved in. She helps with the Reading Academy. That's our reading intervention program. And she has learned the Sunday system, which is one of the programs that we use in there. And she always makes students and staff feel like it's going to be a good day. So thank you, Nana, for everything you do.
Okay, can you look at me? Oh, 1, 2, 3. Got it.
All right. Hi, I'm Anna Perales, principal of Bristow Middle School, and I'm happy to present this evening Miss Michelle West. So Miss West contacted me even before I was the official principal, but she was one of the first people to contact me and welcome me to Bristow and to just say, hey, I'm super happy and super excited to work with you, which was a great way to be welcomed to the Bristow family. She is the president of our Parents Club, and when I say she organizes and facilitates fundraisers and events, she's the woman who is getting it all done. We've seen her every single day this week, facilitating our staff appreciation and providing our staff amazing lunches and lunchtime activities and things like that. So thank you so much for the nachos today. I did not have lunch, so that was amazing. Thank you so much for that. And I know our staff appreciates that as well. She is always, tireless in her efforts. She never stops. I know if I call her, she'll pick up and just say, hey, what do you need? And she volunteers at almost all of Bristow's events and activities. And she is always an additional resource in our parent community and a great contact for Bristow. I know as we, work on building those parent relationships, she's always a person I can call and say, hey, what do you think about this? Which is awesome as a new principal to have that resource. So thank you so much, Ms. West. Come on up.
I'm Lenore Medina, the principal of Edna Hill Middle School, and Edna Hill Middle School's exceptional volunteer is Heidi Nielsen. And Heidi Nielsen, when I called her to speak to her about this honor, she's like, she didn't expect it, but she also said, I don't really do much. And so I want to share some of the things that she does because it's a lot more than she thinks. She's building our Drama Booster Club, which is a job for several people. She stepped into that position when another teacher moved out of the state. And so it's a big job and she's doing it. She helps balance our drama club's financial accounts, which means that she's really good at math. She helps our drama director with ticketing sales before, during our drama productions. And this year we had, like Dr. Eaton said, 3 casts, and that was a big job. She works our concession stand during our drama productions, and she does so with a smile and a happy face. And so we are proud to honor her this evening. So Heidi Nielsen, would you please come up?
Good evening. I am Allison Martin. I am the proud principal at Guerin Elementary. My volunteer of the year this year, I think, has been nominated a number of times at our site. She has been around for 15 years. I have teachers who have not been around at the site for that long. So when Dana says, I think she works here, I believe when I got onto campus last year, I thought she worked there. So Dana McIntyre, she is an exceptional volunteer at our site. She works in multiple classrooms, approximately 3 days a week. She works with reading groups. She pretty much does everything. She's the teacher's second right hand every day that she's there. She's a fixture. All of our kids know her on campus. She has worked with hundreds of students along the way. And Dana's first job there was about 15 years ago when she came in and went through the entire library and made sure all books were leveled for students so they knew what levels they would be at. So she's been a fixture there and currently works in a couple of classrooms. So we have teachers and family here. And my favorite part was that we decided that we were going to surprise her and invited her husband when we got to announce that she was going to be our volunteer of the year. So Dana, come on, join us, please.
Yes, I need to remember. Thank you so very much. Overwhelming. Thank you. Oh, smile. Got it. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'm Brian Jones, the principal at Cray Elementary School, and it's an honor to see our grandparents represented today. So we have Mrs. H here tonight, who's a grandmother to a 7th grader at Adams and a 5th grader at Cray. So she's been volunteering with us for about 9 years now and shows up every week, volunteering not just in the current classrooms that her grandsons are present in with Ms. Vanderhyde, but helping support all the teachers they've had in previous years too. I'm not sure I can keep track of her day to day because she could be in any number of classrooms, places, helping in the workroom, making copies for an entire grade level, working with a student one-on-one in the classroom as a teacher needs her to, helping with art or running literature circles. She does it all because she is a retired teacher with 30 plus years of experience, and now we're benefiting from all of that. So we're just so humbled and honored and so appreciative that you help us out at Cray. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Julie Croy, the principal at Loma Vista, and I am very excited to honor Danielle tonight. She has organized our Spring Fling for several years. It's our largest fundraiser at Loma Vista, and this fundraiser helps provide buses for our field trips, also our for assemblies and just additional programs at Loma Vista. She's probably already planning for next year, but she starts early in the year going out to the community, getting people to volunteer and donate things for our spring fling. She is amazing. One of the things that she really takes pride in and just something that wonderful is providing just a community celebration for our school, and also making sure that we really have games and different activities that are equitable. She made sure that we have sensory baskets for our SDC preschool students, along with a quiet room where sometimes carnivals and different things can get overwhelming for little ones. She has a quiet reading room that students can go to. So I want to just recognize, and I know she does not like to be recognized, but come on up, Danielle, and Tori and Macy, come with her.
Thank you.
One, two, three.
Thank you. All right, I'm Teresa D'Alfonso. I'm principal at Marsh Creek Elementary, and we're very proud to honor Emily Ericat. We met Emily 6 years ago when her son Sam started at Marsh Creek. We quickly learned that Emily has a heart of gold. She is one of the most genuine, kind, and caring people you could ever meet. And we fell in love with her and her family. We're very appreciative of everything she does, most appreciative of two things. One is that they bought a house south of Grant Street. And second, because she and Saud had a COVID baby, so she's going to be around Marsh Creek for a long, long time. So come on up, Emily.
You guys want to get the picture with her? Come on, you got it. All right. Let's do this one this way. All right. Go.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. All right. Good evening. My name is Maria Gonzalez. I'm the proud principal of Mary Casey Black Elementary School, and I'm here to recognize. It was really hard because our staff, without a doubt, said, you have to recognize all of them. And I said, absolutely, I'm going to recognize all of them. So tonight we're recognizing our PTA board. Since COVID, this board has done an amazing job making sure that families, students, and staff all feel connected. And that is so apparent in everything that they do every single week for us. From providing free events for our families to join, making sure that everybody can participate, to raising funds for school supplies, whatever the teachers need, field trips. I mean, you name it, they are on top of it. And without that, we wouldn't have been able to do a lot of the things we're doing this year. And I cannot just recognize one person on the board because everybody here worked so hard, and we appreciate everything you guys have done this year, and actually since COVID, in making sure that, we are connected. We're connected as a community, and if you come to our school, you will feel that. And that's all in due because of our board here. And so thank you for everything you've done from the bottom of our heart. Our staff really appreciates everything. We love everything you guys have provided for us this year. The countless food, I think I've gained 10 pounds this week alone. But everything you've done, I know it's a lot because you guys are moms and moms of numerous kids. And so we just want to say that we love you and we appreciate everything you do. Thank you.
Thank you. I need to come
Need to come eat over there. Invite me. Great job. Thanks for everything that you do. The glue that keeps everything going. All right, let's gather around.
Perfect. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Casey McClure. I'm the principal at Pioneer. And it's a great honor tonight for me to be able to recognize our exceptional volunteer, Lisa Waldron. First thing I want to say is Lisa does a lot of things at Pioneer. And thank you to her husband for letting us have her on loan for so much time. Lisa serves as the Pioneer Parents Club president, and she came on at a time when Pioneer really needed the support from our Parents Club. And as a very large elementary school, our Parents Club has done a tremendous job under Lisa's leadership. She also serves at school as a campus supervisor, and she volunteers in her own students' classroom. So you can imagine she spends a lot of time at the school, and she does wonderful things. She is warm and kind and extremely generous, not just with her time, but with giving attention to kids who need that attention, but also to staff. This week alone, our Parents Club has done a tremendous job recognizing the Staff Appreciation Week with a really awesome theme and lots of celebratory events. And so it is a great pleasure for me to recognize Lisa Waldron. And I do want to mention, as you make your way up here, thanks a lot for volunteering for me to sleep on the roof of the school as a reward for one of our school fundraisers.
Hi, everybody. I'm Nick Casey, principal of Ron Nunn Elementary, and we are so excited to honor Krista Gillarducci for this award. She is certainly deserving of it. Krista has 2 children at Ron Nunn. Kate is a 2nd grader and Kala is in kindergarten. And in addition to being a weekly volunteer, she serves on our school site council and is our Ron Nunn Parents Club secretary. And she has really worked hard this year to streamline that process. She's cut my principal's update down from 5 minutes to 3 minutes to 2 minutes. I don't know what she's tried to tell me with that, but she, like everybody said, we feel like she's a staff member to the point that when she's not at school, sometimes I ask if she called in for a sub because we're so used to seeing her. Krista's a teacher herself, and when she's a weekly volunteer, one of the things that stands out about her is she works with students on instructional practices, and when she sees a need, she just fills it. She likes to be under the radar, so I know she doesn't enjoy tonight. But she does a lot of things that she thinks we don't notice, but we do. She pays for additional field trips. She pays for costumes for our 2nd grade musical. She helped provide our students to bring Christmas gifts home to their family. So we are just so fortunate to have Krista Gillarducci as our recipient this year.
Good evening. My name is Michael Bowen. I'm the Director of Curriculum and Instruction for the school district, and it's my honor to recognize our district office Exceptional Volunteer of the Year, and that is Lisa McLaughlin. Lisa is, if you do not know, we have a art docent program that is parent run, volunteer run. Our goal is to have a parent art docent for every single classroom in the school district. And Lisa runs that program on her own time. So she meets with the docents regularly. She schedules time at Starry Night and other places for various demonstrations. They do art together. She works with principals to gather more volunteers and puts on our district art show that Dr. Eaton showed earlier in the presentation. Does all the setup and takedown, works with a local framing company to make sure everything's framed, and just does really an amazing job on her own time to make sure our art docent program runs. Lisa was not able to be here tonight, but I wanted to make sure we honored her.
Okay, I want to remind everybody how close we are to cookies as we go forward. So we're very close. Next up, Mr. Bowen, you also had induction. Okay.
Yeah. Emily, you want to join me? Emily Richards is our induction coordinator for the Far East Contra Costa County Consortium. It is our program in this area with our surrounding 4 districts that helps teachers to become ready to clear their credentials. So they have to go through a 2-year program to complete the induction program. And I'm not sure we have any of our completers here tonight, but we want to honor them by reading off their names. If you happen to be here, come on up.
All right. So we are going to honor their names. And so please hold all of your applause till the end. Thank you. Kate Bernamonte. Michaela Callahan, Rose Doria, Lindsay Heaney, Alisa Jennings, Janelle McNabb, Kelly Mello, Rebecca Ochoa, Kristen Penner, Kimberly Pimentel, Molly Robb, Kaylee Rubio, Christy Sanchez, Janelle Triplett, Jessica Trujillo, and Emily Worth.
Thank you so much, Emily. All right. So, Madam President, I believe we're to number 7.
All right.
Move that we open public comment. Second.
All right, so move. We will move on to item number 7, which is public comment. And at this time, the public is permitted to address the school board on items that are on the consent calendar, requests for future agenda items, and items that are not on the agenda. As a reminder, remarks are limited to 3 minutes per person. And while we encourage your comments, unfortunately, state law prevents us from discussing items that are not on our meeting agenda. Publics can be made at this time or during the appropriate agenda item, and we do take them very seriously, and if appropriate, staff will follow up. We did receive one written public comment prior to the meeting start, and that will be added to the meeting minutes. So now the public comments have been opened. Do we have any public comments?
Would you want to wait for the item, April? Yes. Okay, so we intend to. Thank you. Sir.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we close public comment then. I'll second.
All right. I have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All right. Next up, we are going to move on to item number 8, which is consent items. Oh, Dana, you wanted to?
Yeah, so as we get to the consent items, I want to remind people that we're just these items away from cookies here as we go forward. We are at a very special time in our personnel report where we're going to be introducing some new staff. And I just want to share a little bit and ask these people to stand up in some of our leadership positions across before we take a vote. So the first person I'm going to ask to stand is Diane Deschler. So Diane, would you please stand? So Diane is being recommended tonight as our new chief business official. So as we've shared, Robin Schmidt, who's been here for many, many years, is retiring. And Diane, we feel so fortunate after having such an outstanding CBO for so many years. We still feel so fortunate to have somebody with Diane's qualifications come to us. Diane is currently the CBO in the Lafayette School District. Previously, she was the CBO in the Martinez School District. She just finished her term as president of the California Association of School Business Officers for the whole state. So she brings a lot of experience to us. When we checked her references, they said she has an incredible work ethic, an incredible attention to detail, and great collaboration skills. One additional piece is she used to be the executive chef at Chez Panisse, and she's a trained pastry chef, though I did put out that she didn't bring any food to the interview. So that was not the reason. Diane, we're very excited to have you joining us. So congratulations and welcome. The next person I want to have stand is Justine Melendez. Justine, there you are back there. Welcome, Justine. So we've also been very fortunate to have Jeff Weiss as our special ed director for the last several years. And as he's deciding to step away, Justine has stepped up to take his place, and we're super excited. Justine is currently the coordinator of Special Education Local Planning Association, so it's called the SELPA sometimes. But basically, she supports most of the districts in Contra Costa County in that role, and we're thrilled to have her come here. She's been a general education teacher, a special education teacher, a resource specialist, and a program specialist before her current job. When we reached out and talked to people about her, they talked about how great she does at building positive relationships, her calm demeanor, and her willingness to really be hands-on in classrooms and in programs. So we're thrilled to have you join us, Justine. So congratulations. I'm usually pretty good at keeping track of where people sat, but I have no idea where everybody is now. Karen Newsty. Karen, where? Oh, right back there. Hi, Karen. So Karen we have sort of a newer position in the district. Bree Haig has served as our principal of Harvest Grove Elementary School for the last couple years and done a great job leading that program, but she's going to go back to Cray Elementary as an assistant principal. And we're thrilled to have Karen joining us as our principal of Harvest Grove and of alternative education. She's currently the director of, this is a long title, of College, Career, and Secondary Education at the San Mateo County Office of Education. But previously, she's been a director of Career Technical Education, or CTE, a K-8 principal in Pacifica, and she oversaw an alternative high school in Piedmont. And so when we reached out to people and asked about her, they really talked about how passionate she was and positive she was in the work setting, and that she's super hardworking and a great problem solver. So Karen, we're thrilled that you're joining us as well. So I know, Mr. Calabrese, you have a few people that you want to introduce as well.
I do. And so if they would just stand as I read off their names right where they're at, because there are cookies involved here. So Abigail Durante, please stand up. She's our newest SLP, trained at San Francisco University. She's trained in AAC, which stands for Augmentative Alternative Communication. She has an exceptional background, been an intern at Bridge School where she worked with individuals with complex communication needs. One of her references said she's beloved by all who work with her. So we're super excited to have Abby join us. Nicole Duran, is Nicole here? Awesome. Nicole is a psychologist. We stole her from Oakley. We recruited her. And before that, she worked for the Academy of Alameda School. One of her references said she was the best school psychologist I've ever worked with. So we were really lucky to have Nicole join us, and she'll be joining the Edna Hill team. And Dr. Kim Spears. Hi, Kim. So Kim is also a psychologist. She took a year off and missed working with students. She previously worked for Liberty High School. Prior to that, Inspired Charter School in Sacramento. And as one of her references said, she was, for many of our students, the safe person, and her office was the only place a few of our students felt like they could start to access their education. So we're super excited to have Dr. Kim Spears join us, and she'll be joining Garen's staff. Christina Rivera. Christina is not new to Loma Vista. She's been an intern there this past year. She's also done field work in Orinda Intermediate School. As her reference said, she is stellar. She's student focused and one of the best people I've ever worked with. So congratulations, Christina. Thank you for joining us. And then next is our program specialist, Ellen Anderson. Ellen will be supporting our preschool program. She currently works at Mount McKinley School and is a former ISP teacher from Bristow Middle School, so she's no stranger to Brentwood. Ellen's voice as a leader is strong, and as her reference said, I know she's the kind of leader any organization needs at this crucial crossroads in education. So thank you, Ellen, for joining us.
Christina, I've got one. You might not have a backpack when you go to work, maybe a briefcase, because that will confuse you as a student. With that being said, I'd like to make a motion that we approve consent items 8.0 to 8.14 so our new hires can officially eat our cookies.
I will second. All right, I have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. It's cookie time.
Oh, sorry.
Or
sorry.
no?
No, yeah, sorry. You got to
No?
go to 10-1. So sorry.
10-1, okay, my
Yeah.
bad, so sorry.
Almost there. These
Almost
are really quick.
there. Moving on to, nothing for item number 9, moving on to item number 10, no report outs from closed session, and then now we're at 10.1.
This is so our CBO can also have cookies.
There you
This
go.
is the last item. So
All right, so do I have a motion for item number 10.1?
That we approve the employment agreement with your CBO.
I second. All right, first and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
So moved, it is cookie time.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Come on up.
Moving on to item 12.
All right. Thank you to those who are staying with us. Appreciate it. Don't feel like, came for the cookies and that's it. But anyway, moving on to agenda item 10.2, boundary discussion.
Yeah, and I know we have a public comment.
Excuse me. Yep,
about
we have
that.
a public
And so,
comment.
But I just wanted to quickly just to remind the board that the boundary information that they requested about that area, that triangle is in their packet and provided for you today.
Yep.
So
Yep. All right, so I'm going to call up April Drummond for public comment on agenda item 10.2.
Do we have to open it? Okay, I'd like to open the 10.2, the boundary discussion for public comment.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, so moved.
Good evening. Thank you, board and BUSD staff, for the opportunity to speak again. I'll try not to repeat stuff for you, as you have heard me speak at every meeting since this item came to light. I'm here again to ask you to consider the option to include our triangular area east of Minnesota for the boundary change to stay at Pioneer. I have 2 middle schoolers that went to Pioneer, and my 2 youngest have always been exposed to their brother's school, which is now their school. We have spent ample time volunteering and helping teachers when needed, and their safety is what brings us back to this meeting, along with their feeling of belonging. On my off days currently, we ride to school and they take the same way that their big brothers took. We cross at the stop sign on Minnesota and then hit that Miwok Trail. Along the way, they meet up with their friends that have been so blessed to have the boundary change for them to stay at Pioneer. From Miwok, they come out onto Grant and have open and safe trails the whole way. They pass several close friends and families' houses that we can check on them when they will ride to school themselves when it is their time. Just as the safety of the west of Minnesota was considered last meeting, please continue that safety decision and consider the remaining 23 students in our triangular area east of Minnesota to the railroad tracks. We are all close neighbors in this area, and it's still safety, and we would be crossing at the same railroad tracks as our neighbors west of Minnesota. Regardless of the distance, it's still safety. I do appreciate your time and all that you do for our children of our schools, and this small change will make a huge impact to not only safety, but social and emotional belonging. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I'll take a motion to close public comments.
Yeah, so Steve requested this information. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad.
Move to be closed public comment.
Second.
All right, I have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
So Steve requested this information last board meeting in regards to that triangle. And we requested that Chris and Kirsten give us the numbers and how much it affected and what exactly it was. And they did that. And I also walked the neighborhood to see what was going on in regards to some people in that triangle, for lack of a better word. That's what it's become to known, is some of the people on the same street were going to one school, some were going to the other school. To me, it was just very confusing for a small number of students. So I would like the board to reconsider changing to include the triangle into the Pioneer stays in the triangle versus moving schools. So, and I know Steve requested the information too, so.
Yeah, I wanted to know what the numbers were, and I think 23 is a small enough number not to split up a neighborhood. I am really for keeping kids that live that close together. It just makes sense to me. The railroad track seems like a natural boundary for that area, and to move it just a block over for a small number doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I agree with Scott on this one.
All right, so I hear a motion on the floor related to item number 10.
Well, before you do, I
Okay.
would like to say too that I agree with that and have checked that too, and I have safety concerns. And I think that option, if a family wants to make the move, they should be able to make the move. I don't know if that caveat can be added to that, or if you'd be willing to do that. But,
I would agree as well.
You know, then if they want to make the move, they can. But other than that, they would stay.
Sure. So with that being said, I'll make a motion that we change the boundary to include the students that originally were going to be displaced out of Pioneer because of the triangle, and also make a motion that the parents that wish to keep the original school movement an option for them, if that so.
So can I ask us a question about that?
Sure.
So are you saying that for that first year,
Yeah.
if they wanted to transfer, they could be afforded the inter-district transfer process?
For the ones
but not in perpetuity where we let those people decide.
Correct.
Right? I just want to be clear on that, right?
Right.
Yeah. So the very first year, if there were families that wanted to, and just like the other one, if they applied within the first inter-district transfer period to go, that we would approve them
to Marsh Creek.
To Marsh Creek, yes.
Correct.
Okay.
So that's my motion, and I'm sticking to it.
And I will second.
All right, I have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, so moved. We're making people happy and keeping people together. Good job, board. Love that. All right, so moving on to item number 10.3, our budget update.
Our short budget.
You want to keep it short, you better keep it short.
And for the newly hired CBO.
We let her go.
Oh.
So.
I don't need to open it or anything, right?
No.
Just, okay, cool.
Thank you, board. I have a very, no. So I'll run through this very quickly. You have the slides in front of you. Some of these you've seen before. I just want to I'll go through and hit the highlights.
Perfect.
This is a quick snapshot of from a couple of days ago. We think it's pretty close relative to sort of the projected enrollment relative to who's in the system and the new enrollees that have enrolled. So really TK and K are technically new enrollees. So that reflects the number of kids that we have enrolled at this time. We'll see them enroll through the rest of the summer. That's what we'll watch. The number that we watch is really the two numbers in the bottom corner. Right now, we're seeing about 9,430 currently enrolled, and we're projecting about 9,640 with staff a little bigger. So we're still about 200 difference, probably 200 to 300 difference in that number, and that's what we're watching. And as that number gets closer, we have to start looking at staffing needs, and that's the middle. That's what we're all in the middle of right now. And I know it's hot on the forefront of our thought process relative to what I'm doing with Chris and Kirsten, just relative to keeping up and tracking that. Second, the ADA, we're still not seeing the ADA, the percentage of kids attending school. It's better than last year, but it's still not here. And, those 2 months down in the 80s are pulling our numbers down, but we're still in the 93% range, and we'll watch that, and that will affect, and I'll have information relative to budget development in terms of the numbers that we're actually going to project for next year. You've seen this slide before. This is just telling the story relative to what our ADA is and what we're funded at. The one I want to point out is in 2021, 22, and 22, 23, the gray area is sort of the ADA that we're actually reporting. The green is actually what we're actually funded at, and the black is actually our enrollment. And the story here is our enrollment's growing, but the ADA is not, so we're not seeing the ADA growth relative to revenue. And we hope that turns around, but until the kids can attend school, and there's lots of reasons. I'm not blaming our families, that from the pandemic, I know families are being much more cautious about sending kids to school sick, and that's a good thing. I've talked about this page before is without new ADA and new ADA growth, turning the page costs increase because we have other costs as we add staff because our enrollment grows. We don't have the ADA, that comes out of COLA. And so really quickly as a reminder, when we look at our COLA, when we adopted the budget way back in June and went to first interim, what we knew about this year, next year, and the year after is right there on the top line. In January, the governor released his budget. We'll know more on Friday. And projected next year at a COLA of 8.13 and 3.54 in the year after. And really what I point out is all the assumptions we used to build the budget and reach settlements was based on the top line. So the changes relative to moving forward is sort of the second line or the third line. And I'll talk a little bit more about what's coming up, but really we're looking at, it is positive. It helps us, it's helped all districts, but turning the page is really is working against districts right now. And this is another way to look at it. This is just a pictorial representation. If you look at 22-23, we had about a 13% COLA when they added all of the COLAs together in the base COLA. And the next line next to that really are the new expenditures. So we had STIRS and PERS, special ed costs, and step and column in there. And the blue line on the top is really we had salary increase in benefits relative to the big settlement we reached back in across the summer. Looking at 23-24, the governor's proposing about an 8.13 COLA. Some of those expenditures move forward, but you can see there's a lot more stacks on the graph over there. That's because now we have benefits, we have utilities, we have sub costs all increasing this year, and those costs go into next year until we start to see those come around. But I know if you've read your power bill at home, power bills are going up, not coming down. So we got to watch all those things. That's built into the budget, but it's a pictorial representation to show that we got a big COLA. Some of that was used up in the raise, but there's other costs that we're now experiencing now that will be part of next year's budget that we have to put into the unrestricted fund. And that's just a caution as we go forward looking into that. And assumptions we've talked about before, we know we have COLA, we have step and column, STIRS and PERS, and the special ed costs that we incurred this year will become real next year in the unrestricted of about $2.5 million. And that's built into the multi-year that I'll show you here. And when we did second interim, and we know sub-cost utilities. When we look at the ADA story, this is just a picture of what we knew at first and second interim, and our projection next year is about 100 over the ADA that we're currently reporting actual, and it's about 56 over what's actually funded. And that's something we're looking at closely relative to enrollment projections and ADA for next year as we build the budget in there. Looking at the MYP from second interim, and again, this goes back to looking at all those things. All these things are built into the assumption at second interim. And really what we look at is the first line is really the revenue. The fourth line down is total expenditures being projected. The fifth line is really the revenue to expenditure. So when it's negative or deficit spending, and when it's positive, it's positive. That means there's more revenue than expenditures. We know that. That was something that we stated at second interim as well. And we know we haven't settled for 23-24 yet. So that's all part of that conversation, and still lots to work out on that. We know the governor's supposed to release his budget on Friday, and we'll spend the next week sort of going through, waiting for all that. He'll talk about it, but we won't have any of the details. We won't have the details till the following week. Right now, the noise is still status quo, and I toyed with this. The noise is really the word I like to use here because it's a lot of noise out there, good and bad, positive, negative, et cetera. But the noise in general is they're trying to keep education status quo or safe. So maybe not new funding, but they'll hold to everything they've talked about. But it means sacrifices elsewhere, and it also means they're kicking the problem down the road. So while it may look fine now, what it'll affect is the conversations you have during the next year relative to the year after, and it may not be so good if the economy stays the way it is. Right now, the biggest thing is tax revenue is still well under projections. If you know, they extended the tax collection to October, so we won't know the fiscal story of the state really till October, after we adopt a budget in June and the state adopts their budget late June. And so you've heard that story before. So thoughts, we got to watch the state fiscal health. The governor and legislature are in negotiations now. He'll lay out his plan here on Friday, and they'll continue the negotiations through the end of June. We're watching our ADA enrollment, watching special ed costs, and of course, working through the close of books to look at what our ending balance is at the end of the year. And that's my quick information presentation tonight.
Wow. Awesome.
Good.
And what happened to that the previous 8 years?
I didn't hear you. Sorry.
I said, what happened to those type of presentations the previous 8 years?
It's been practicing, it's building, it's development. So.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so very much for that very informative presentation on the budget update, and I look forward to,
seeing what the governor puts out there for the state budget and going through that. All right, so that's 10.3. Let's move on to item number 10.4. BUSD teacher induction accreditation visit.
Good evening, Board of Education. I'm back with Emily Richards. We're here just to share quickly a little information about the accreditation that we went through with the state of California in order to be able to continue to recommend teachers to be able to clear their credentials. So our consortium, every 7 years, the state does an accreditation, and our consortium had the opportunity to participate in that recently. I'm going to ask Emily to share a little bit about what that looks like.
Thank you. So our induction program has a motto, and our motto is that no significant learning happens without significant relationships. And so that'll be important as we talk about our site visit. So the site visit is representatives from the state. So it is 2 state consultants and 3 induction coordinators from other programs around the state. It is a 7-year cycle. So in years 4 and 5, we are preparing for that. I know I came before the board in year 4 as part of our process to write to the standards and the education code that we are required to adhere to as part of the induction program. And then this year, the team came and interviewed almost 300 people that are part of our program. That included current candidates and mentors, recent completers, site administrators from the 5 districts, district administrators from the 5 districts, professional development providers. So basically anybody who's involved in induction. So as you saw in the board packet, the outcome was overwhelmingly positive. There are some spaces for us to work on, which is not uncommon. That is sort of the expected status quo of these things, is that they find things to work on. What was really exciting for us was that the concerns that they had were the same things that we as a program have been talking about wanting to improve upon. How do we help candidates continue to be more reflective? How does the documentation of that reflective process support their overall growth as teachers, and how do they continue to work with their mentors to affect that change? One of the things that I thought was really important, though, to share with you all was some of the things that the team said when they were there, was that they really commented that it was so clear to them that not just our teachers, not just our site administrators, not just our candidates, but our community is so deeply committed to education, and that education really, as they said, runs through the fabric of our town. Our historical society helped us create a presentation that talked about schools from our beginning in 1858, and that they really said, we know that your community is built upon educating students, and how clear that is that you continue in that tradition. So I think that was really important that they saw that really clearly come out in all of the interviews that they had to that. And the other thing that they really commented on was they came and spent 3 days here in this district office, and that every single person that they met, whether they were being interviewed or they just happened to see them in the hallways, was so kind and welcoming, that this physical building was so cheerful. They said it was one of the most positive site visits that they had ever been on. We were picked to be the sort of inaugural return to in-person site visits, and they said they were so excited that this was their were sort of returning visit, and really had high praise for us as a district and for the community that we are part of. So I just wanted to share those comments with you, because I think that's really important, that that other people in the state see us as a model program and a community that holds education as a real key piece of how we see ourselves as a town.
And just to end, I would share the report is in there. You'll see there's one finding that we need to work on. It's not something that we need to bring back to the state. They expect us to be able to just fix it. So that's part of showing that it's not a significant finding. And what's not in there, because the report is a clinical state report, is what they told Emily and I, which is really that we have an exemplary model program for the state. And I think that was emphasized when the lead induction person for the entire state was so excited to share with us how well we were doing. And when she left, she said, "Emily, can I have a hug?"
Aww.
So really excellent work by Emily. She's been working really hard on
Yes.
I'd like to just say thank you for, everything you do, all your hard work. Obviously, it shows just by the marks and the compliments and the everything else. You too, Michael. Appreciate it. And I would like to say, just because you are the head of all of it, you should be complimented too. It just shows what kind of staff and team you put together and run. So it's phenomenal. We're very proud to be working with you guys, and kudos to everybody involved, and please pass it on. So.
It's very nice of you to say. I do want to admit that in my interview when I was speaking with them, I told them how amazing Emily was, but I was careful because I didn't. Oh, it's nice to have an echo, I feel like. But I was afraid that they tried to steal her, so I left out some of the things that she does. So, but
once again, that's good leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Smart. All right. Any other comments from the board?
Nope.
Well, again, hats off to all the work that you and your team are doing. And again, Dana, similar to what Scott said, it's the organizational culture that you're leading and building throughout the district. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So next up, we have an information update, item number 10.5, an update on LCAP process, timeline, and feedback.
Yeah, so I have the next couple items. Board, this comes back to you as part of the process that you've seen since I think December now. And so what you'll see in here is feedback from our parent groups, student leadership, from our staff, and different staff groups across the district based on our goals. And so then this is sort of, they got a chance to see it again through the accordion process. The next step will be us taking this feedback and massaging the goals a little bit further and bringing back for a final review for you in June as part of our goal setting process for next year when you'll see the budget as well. So just want to put that in front of you and happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the board?
Not at this time. Thank you.
Okay, I have a couple of comments and perhaps some questions that come out of that. One, really appreciate the effort to be inclusive with the LCAP and the strategic goals. And as part of finalizing it, I think I have a couple of things that stand out to me is with the goals, there's a lot. So for me, it would be helpful to understand from the district perspective, some clear targets on the goals with an emphasis on best practices. And then I don't know, I have three things I wanted to point out. I'm not sure what goal number it would align to, but we heard even in Robin's budget report around attendance, the ADA, and I'm wondering, is there anything that we can do to, like I'm thinking an attendance drive or some type of messaging within the schools, some types of incentive to try to beef up some of that attendance. And with that, perhaps we as a board could get some information maybe periodically throughout the board meetings in the year around like an attendance report, like how we're doing per school.
Sure.
And board chime in, but these are some of the things that I'm thinking of as we try to get ahead of some of the attendance issues, because I understand that 1% equals out to nearly $1 million. And so that's a significant risk to the district. So I don't know what goal number that comes into, but I'll let you guys figure that out. Okay. And then I really appreciate the support that we can provide our teachers and in making sure that we have our instruction, like having the best practices in each classroom. I know some classrooms are doing some phenomenal work, but it would be great if we could figure out a way that each classroom has those best practices that are research-based for education. And one thing that comes to mind when I think about that is like intervention, right? So the tier 1 intervention, being able to support our teachers and staff to kind of provide that in a structured way to give them that support.
Okay.
And then lastly is, we've heard throughout the school year around some of the behavioral challenges that our teachers are experiencing, and it's becoming kind of widespread and something that I hear over and over again. So I'm just curious if we could find a way to support our teachers in managing their classrooms to control behaviors of students in the classroom. So those are the things that I think would help our district. And as I speak on my own behalf, but would like to bring that forward for the board to also consider as we move forward in finalizing the LCAP and the strategic goals. Thank you.
No, thank you for that feedback. What we'll do as we go back is we'll incorporate some of those thoughts into our goals as we come out, and maybe there's a way that we can highlight some significant ones amongst all the goals that are there that we'll bring forward for reports. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, we've got a lot of goals, and I'm all for the things. I think they're all important. And I think that it'll be important for us as a board, as a district, to really prioritize some of those goals, so that way we can really hone in and getting brilliant at what I would consider the basics, and giving everything that we can to beef up certain areas, and not saying that the other areas are not important, but really just coming up with some priorities amongst all of those goals.
Okay, thank you. I'm happy to bring that back.
I'd like to just add, I totally agree with Stephanie's idea, and to also preface the fact that the behavior is definitely something that we get multiple complaints from the teachers in regards to, when we do our walkarounds. With that being said, is there anything statute-wise for, I know there used to be, but attendance, tardies, behavior to hold the parents more responsible?
It's a challenging question, because the reality is there are statutes that hold parents responsible for attendance, especially when kids are truant, right? But it's up to the enforcement of the local jurisdiction. And so there have been different times in the past where we've had the support of the local district attorney or an assistant district attorney, but they just haven't been able to provide that in the last little while. So we have an internal process that we use. Kirsten coordinates the SARB, the School Attendance Review Board, across multiple school districts and leads that. And so that's a good process, but those were often dealing with the most severe cases, right? And the challenge has been is once they go through there, and if that board isn't successful, there isn't a support at a law enforcement or a DA level to provide that. Behavior, there are similar things. One of the things that's happened legislatively is there's been a push away from taking students out of schools, right? And there's very noble reasons for doing that. But there aren't as many tools to hold students or parents accountable for discipline as there used to be.
I mean, I think we find as a board that a lot of the students that we're dealing with as far as suspensions and expulsions and stuff, if you look at their attendance record, it's in correlation to their behavior. We have some of the kids with already this year, well, we're almost done, but 35, 40 tardies. Yeah. I mean, that should be on the parents, get your student to school, on time. Yeah. Same with absenteeism and stuff. And, everything comes back to the teachers and the board and everything else as far as that stuff goes. And, we can't be, it's hard for us to be held responsible when they're not even showing up because the parents aren't,
Our attendance is at all-time low for sure in this period of time. I was at a school yesterday and a teacher shared with me that it was their feeling that there had been a real shift since the pandemic, and that it was becoming easier for some families and some students to miss school, right? And I think we really have to come back and change that narrative, but it's going to take all of us, right, to take that back and to share how important it is that kids are at school every day as much as possible, because there are times where parents will ask for work, right? But there's no amount of work that you can give that's going to make up for what a school day brings and what a teacher provides a student in class. And also, every minute that you're having a teacher prepare packets for students that aren't in their class, right? That's time that you're taking away from what they're going to prepare for the whole class, which is really where their time should be spent.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. So now there's no. I know we used to, your student was absent. Do we still do anything like that? Or?
We do. No, there's processes that we do. It's been challenging this year, really, because up until just recently, right, we still had pandemic rules in effect where students were staying out for 10 days, absent a test. I think as I forget who said it earlier, but there's definitely a sensitivity to students who are sneezing or things before where maybe they would have come to school, right? They are not coming to school anymore. And so we really kind of have to retake that narrative and work with both our health department, our nurse, and talk about when kids should come to school and when they shouldn't, right?
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Any other comments from the board?
I do. For the document, as it relates to Bristol Middle School goal number 5, where if you see where it's highlighted, at least in my document, it's highlighted yellow, page 14. Okay. There aren't enough career academies for middle school. Is that something that, why is that highlighted?
That came from the site, so the site just had it highlighted and it just didn't get it highlighted.
Yeah, that was just
okay.
We just didn't have, yeah. Just
I'm a
oversight.
little lost on that one. Career opportunities. So is that what?
Career academies for
Yeah.
middle school.
Yeah, it's more typical for high school to have a career technical education program where they're focusing in academies. That's not usually something that's done at middle schools, but that may have been a desire of those people that were providing feedback at that point about that was also from the students, right? What they were looking for.
Okay.
So to prepare them for other jobs in 8th grade.
Mm-hmm. Got some go-getters in those groups, right?
Okay.
All right, any other questions, comments? All right, so
Thank you
that's
for that
just
feedback.
information. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. All right, moving on to item 10.6, board process for naming new school off Lone Tree Way.
Yeah, so this is one of the most exciting things that we get to do as we're going forward. I reflect back to my very first board meeting in this room when it was a little bit over there, and when Pioneer was named and I was selected to open that school, and so this is a great opportunity for the board. Our board policy states that there's a way that we go about naming schools, and the first step is to solicit feedback from the community about places or people that they think would be great representatives for the name, and so that policy is there for you, as well as a sample letter that typically comes from the board president. So we've drafted a letter for President Stephanie Williams Rogers to send out, and so what we would do with your approval is send this out to the media, send it out to members of the community, send it out to our school district staff, and then solicit that feedback to come back. Typically what happens is it comes back and there's like a subcommittee. It's usually the facilities committee, right? So that would be Scott and Steve that would take a first look at it and make some recommendations and decide what would be the next steps, right, as you go forward. Or sorry, Scott and Emo. Yeah.
No.
That would do that.
Try
And so
again.
I was thinking, yeah, I was
Steve and Emo. That's right.
Steve and Emo. All right.
Third time's a charm.
All right, I'll get it eventually. What were the odds with 5
With
people?
that being said, though, I would like my name thrown into the hat for you two.
Yeah, I thought it was the closet at Ron Nunn. I thought that was already decided. So, yeah.
Well, I want to bump you, so.
So anyway, if there's any questions, happy to answer them. Otherwise, this will kick off, and then we'll.
What would the timeline be on sending that out to the community?
We would, knowing my assistant, it's probably ready to go as we speak, and it'll probably be out instantly. Yeah, tomorrow. So great. So
All right.
Okay.
So I think we're good. Any questions, other comments?
Nope.
All right, let's move it on to item number 10.7. Approval of agreement with whatever.
Apogee.
There you go, for website services.
Yeah, so just quickly, School Loop, our website provider, is going out of business in June. They let us know about a month ago. And so they provide all of our websites for schools and the district. So this is, we think this will be a dramatic improvement over what we have. And we believe after everything's said and shaken out, the cost really won't be too much different. And so we're hopeful this will be there, and it's there for your approval. But if you don't approve it, we won't have websites. So just laying that out there.
I move that we approve the item 10.7 with the contract with Apogee.
Second.
I have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. One question I just real quick have, would we be able to see like a a dummy page or what it would actually look like?
Yeah, so part of it is they actually port over the whole, they port over the thing. So they're making some design improvements and they're working, Robert Remley and his team and Nicole are working right now on helping that. And then there's going to be a school committee of principals that are working on it.
Okay.
So, but there's really no way for us to do that internally and make those pages. We just
Makes
don't
sense.
have that.
Yep.
So that's part of the plus of going with them. And then the other piece is this will really move us to an app-based system.
Perfect.
So parents will have apps that they're able to access that'll interact. It'll be much smoother. It'll be much more informative. We'll be able to push positive news out about the district as we go. We'll have much better communication as we go forward that'll be available to us.
Would that include something like Liberty has when you walk into their office, their district office, as far as the TV goes?
Not seen ours.
Yeah, we have that going on. What's on their TV?
The board members in their.
That is right. Yes, that is. We did see that in their district office. There were bios on the board. You know what? We can work on that.
Very impressive.
Would you like us to make up your bio, or do you want to send it to us?
No, it's up to these guys.
Okay. It is right. I'm sorry. I forgot about our transportation meeting. See that?
It was very impressive.
Um,
For the record, though, before we go on,
Yeah.
the superintendent actually brought it to my attention. I didn't notice it, so. The TV, yes.
I know it's probably was very different than when we moved over to a new system and there was like some hiccups in the beginning of the school year. So I just would want to just say I would love to make sure that when the new, when the website is ported to the new site, that we try to make sure that there's a contingency plan in place, because that, the website is where a lot of people get information from the district, and we don't want the site to be down for any bit of time.
Yeah, their target date is prior to School Loop shutting down, so the hope is to port it over. It is technology, so we do expect some hiccups as we go through, but we do recognize that the majority of our new families that come in make a lot of their first impressions of our school district are based on what they see online, and so we're very aware of that, and we're trying very hard to get it right as we go over. But I don't want to say that there won't be hiccups, because there will, right, as we make those transitions. But
perfect, just anticipate and plan for the worst and hope for the best. All right, any other questions on this item before moving on to item 10.8? All right, 10.8, approval of agreement with Ironwood Construction Consulting.
Yep, very quickly, this is a contract with an outside consulting firm that does inspection relative to the Lone Tree construction site. We'll probably have 2 inspectors out there almost full-time tracking the work, and this is the contract for one of those.
We still have Greg.
Yeah, Greg, we already have Greg's. This is the additional work that's going to be needed.
Any other questions?
Is that common?
Yeah, for the size of the site, yeah, because they're projecting they're going to have 200 employees on site working with all the work, so they need 2 sets of eyes checking everything for our sake.
Good, perfect. I'll make a motion that we approve the agreement with Ironwood Construction Consulting on 10.8.
Second.
All right, I have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, so moved. Moving on to item 10.9, approval of agreement with Valdez Painting, Inc.
Yeah, this is a contract to paint Adams. This went out to bid. We were very pleased with the low bid, which we awarded to, and they say they can complete the work with the bid that they provided. So we're booking that to get it booked for the summer, and working around the needs of Adams. So we'll keep there'll be a lot of communication going on to paint that size of a school. So it is exterior paint.
They did Bristow a few years ago. Is that the same company?
I'm not sure it's the same company. I don't think it's the same company.
Okay.
I don't think this is a company we've worked with before, but everything's good. We got good feedback and been through communication with them.
Awesome.
All right, this is an action.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agreement with Valdez Painting, Inc. Under
second.
10.9.
All right, I have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Moving on to item number 10.10, first reading of the board policy, board bylaw, administrative regulation, and we have them listed here.
Yeah, and I just want to, if I could just take a second and acknowledge Nicole for her excellent summary of going through, and she really keeps us all moving on these policies as they're changing constantly, as people like to make new laws, and so they're all there for you and happy to answer any questions. But otherwise, they'll come back to you at the next meeting.
Any questions, board?
Nope.
All right. Moving on to item 11, any board member comments, future agenda items?
Dana, I'd like to just see somebody from the transportation company come in and give a brief presentation on that student login on the buses and stuff, which I felt was extremely interested. And I think the other board members would probably think it's interesting. I know I spoke briefly about it a couple board meetings ago, but for them to explain what now is up and running and then what the future holds as far as that goes. It's not an action item. It would just be a presentation. So thank you.
Other board comments, future agenda items? All right, before we adjourn, I just wanted to recognize my son's kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Ost at Brentwood Elementary. She is retiring this year. I think she's been teaching at Brentwood L for over 20 years. So I just want to take the time to recognize her because she's a phenomenal teacher and I really appreciate all that she does for the students. All right. All right, and with that, I'll have a motion to adjourn.
We adjourn.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carried and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night and go Warriors.
You want to go to that?
My signatures for you.